The Solstice Recovery LA podcast. This was his idea to set up the couches like this. Usually we're in front of a table with our mics. It's more formal. But, we're going to do it on the couches. We're going to try it. He's our creative director today. He was very pushy about it all. But we got Vee Hartoonian on the podcast today. He's one of the residents here at our Sober Living. He is just under 6 months sober. He's trying to make a bid to be our house manager. I don't know about it. He hasn't. We're still, the cat's still out of the bag on that one. Vee is, I've known Vee for years, I've known him for years in sobriety. He's a tattoo artist right here in Venice Beach. He's very well known. People love his work. And tell us a little bit about yourself, Vee. How'd you get to where you're at today?
As far as recovery goes? Or?
Yeah, as far as recovery goes.
Went to treatment and, just applied myself to stay sober. And, here we are. It's almost 6 months later.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very brief story.
Yeah.
Is this your, first try at sobriety?
No.
Okay.
So it's been, off and on for about maybe, 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 years, 5 different treatment centers, a gang of sober livings, and this is the one I feel like is gonna stick because I'm not on any medication. So I'm not taking Suboxone, I'm not taking psych meds. No medications.
No, raw dogging sobriety, raw dogging life.
Yeah,
just taking it full speed right to the dome. So what was your drug of choice?
Started off with pills and opiates, really, but opiates and coke. Okay. I loved coke since I was 16. Opiates started a little bit after that, and it wasn't a hardcore habit. Well, it was a hardcore habit, but it wasn't nodding off habit. It was taking a couple narcos when I wake up, just feeling energized and going on about my day. And it was prescribed to me, so I felt like it was, I knew it was not okay at the time, but just because it had my name on it, it made it just so much easier because if I got pulled over, my name's on it.
Yeah. I was the same way. That's exactly how my opiate addiction started.
Yeah, I started with a car accident. They prescribed me Vicodin and kept giving me refills for about 6 years.
6 years of opiates. That's your medical system for you.
Yeah.
6 years of opiates. Refills. 6 years of refills, prescription opiates for 6 years after a car accident.
Yeah, hydrocodone, 10/325.
What I used to do with the hydrocodone is I used to cold water extract the...
I've done that too. I've done that too. Take the
acetaminophen.
Take the PAP out.
Yeah, because otherwise, if you take I don't want to teach you guys how to use drugs over here, but the acetaminophen makes you throw up, so you got to take it out if you want to get high.
And it fucks your liver up.
It fucks your liver up.
I actually learned that. I was a pharmacy technician before I started tattooing, and that's where I learned that the cold water extraction.
Yeah. I learned it on YouTube. Every great thing that there is, I learned it on YouTube.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Some sketchy guy just teaching me how to fucking cold water extract that
with the coffee thing.
I use the paper towel.
I use coffee.
The coffee filters.
Yeah, but that's where it started, man. Narcos every day, 4 or 5, maybe 6. Oh, not bullshit. 2 in the morning, 1 every 2 hours. While I'm tattooing, boom, getting my energy up.
Yeah.
And it just kept on going. And then 6 years later, they stopped my prescription. They're like, oh, we can't give it to you no more. I guess the laws had changed. So by that time, I was a pharmacy tech, so I knew how to write scripts. So my friend had these scripts, and I started writing for Oxy. So my whole day consisted of waking up, going to different pharmacies in Orange County and fucking Riverside, everywhere around LA, and just picking up scripts.
Yeah.
Fake, And yeah, dude, that's how it went from narco to Oxy, and then I got locked up in jail. They were like, hey, you're kicking, take this, it'll make you feel better. I knew heroin, and I knew it was bad, but I'm like, dude, I'm feeling so sick that...
They had heroin in prison.
Oh, in jail, not prison, in jail. And you would put it in a little spoon with a little drop of water and just put it up your nose.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, they call it Carlitos. Carlitos, yeah. So you would put those up your nose and you would feel better,
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where I tried heroin for the first time.
How'd you get into jail? What happened?
DUI.
DUI?
Yeah, DUI.
Okay.
And then failure to appear to DUI, so they just locked me up. But yeah, they had it was fucked up. And then So yeah, after jail, I had that little taste in my mouth for heroin. So when I came out, I was like, oxys were super expensive and I didn't want to do the scripting no more. So I just started picking up heroin.
Mm-hmm. It's cheaper too.
Way cheaper.
Way cheaper.
Way cheaper.
It's crazy that is such a stereotypical progression of opiates, and so many people, you've seen it in movies, you see it in TV, that's the progression of opiates. Yep. But it's true. It starts with, the pharmaceutical system, legally, the medical system, legally, and they get you hooked on it. And that's why you're hearing and starting to see all this pushback against like Purdue Pharma, who developed an Oxycontin and put it out on the market and all these drugs, and you're starting to see them finally get persecuted.
Yeah.
Because they've created so many people that have gotten dependent on these drugs. And they've caused so many people to die from these overdoses because of these drugs.
Yeah, there's shows about it. And actually the museum in Paris, they had the name of the family on the museum entrance, and they actually removed it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah. They ruined America for sure, dude.
Oh yeah, they ruined it. They completely ruined it.
A lot of people died,
Yeah. So how long were you using heroin for the first time before you decided hey, I have an issue, let me go into treatment? And
super long time. When I was smoking it, I felt like there wasn't a problem because I was still doing work, I was still tattooing, my tattoos were coming out good. People might have complained about me taking a break here and there, but a couple breaks. But I was just smoking it, and I'm Armenian. For some reason, we smoke with paper clips. That was a thing. And it wasn't a problem at first because I would buy an ounce, put it at home, and every day I'll just chip it off. And I never thought that, I was like, I'm never going to be like those guys, fucking itching for $20 to pick up a sack because look at me, I got and it became that. Yeah. Eventually it became where I was like, dude, I was dying for a sack. So it became a problem, honestly, when I started shooting it. That's when it became a problem. I mean, it was always a problem, but it wasn't my life was still, I was functioning. I was a functioning addict for the longest time, Longest time. From 18, 19, I started getting narcos, I was functioning up until 24, 25. Oxys, heroin, I functioned up until 29,
Yeah.
And then 28, 29 is when I started shooting it, and I started mixing coke with it. So when I started mixing coke and heroin together, that's when my life just went downhill in 3 months, dude. I lost everything,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think that's when it was all right. And I was overdosing left and right.
Yeah.
It was 130, 40 pounds. Yeah. So I'm a big dude.
Yeah.
Picture me at 130 before I look sucked up,
Yeah, that's insane.
In and out of jail, and a couple 4 DUIs. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
How many crash cars?
4
crash cars. You can keep it on one hand, people. I don't think you're done yet.
Yeah, no, I'm done. I'm done. Yeah, four crash car total, dude. I could have died.
Total.
I could have died.
Brand new BMWs, walks away from them. It's fuck,
740, dude.
740.
Smashed into the
fucking
freeway.
Alpina.
Yeah.
Boom, smashed up.
I wish it was Alpina, but it wasn't. No, it wasn't Alpina.
Well, hopefully
it was still a 740. It was a dope ass car, dude. Yeah,
it's a dope car. You said you were telling me that was your dream car.
Dream car. Yeah. Well, yeah. When I was a kid, I always used to see the 740. I was like, man, I want one of those.
Yeah.
And I got it. It was after I went to treatment that I got it. I went to Cliffside, Malibu, and I was doing good. Now that I look back on it, it's probably a stupid decision because a $1,300 car payment is a lot,
Oh, that's so much.
Yeah, for sure. But at the time, I was like, you know what? It was my first time getting sober, and I was like, I gotta prove to the world that I'm back on my shit, kind of letting the material take over and or trying to show people that I'm back at it, doing good, So that's why my mind was I need that car.
Yeah.
So, and it kind of did that for me too, actually. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many the material world. I know so many addicts and alcoholics in AA and in the program that have come in with crazy amounts of material possessions. They have but they're so fucked in the head.
Yeah, for sure.
Fucked. So that how we're doing on the outside is very different than how we're doing on the inside. They're two completely different things.
But I think for us, I mean, I could speak for myself. I don't know about it. I see it. I could see it in other people too. But like, because when we come from like really low bottoms, we want to show that we have our shit together. Yeah. And the easiest way to do that is by, flashing, nice clothes or a fucking beautiful car. And, people see that. They're like, oh, he's doing good. They don't see somebody sober fucking 10 years dressed up regularly and say, oh, yeah, he's doing great. It's harder for them to see that as a, like an accomplishment. Like, oh, shit, you got a nice car. You must be doing good.
Yeah.
They're not going to be like, oh, you're 10. They can't know you have 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's easier to show you're doing good when you have material stuff. And I think it's a good thing, too, like, to an extent, like, to have good things is, like, kind of, like, rewarding yourself. But, like, kind of keep it at a,
Yeah. Of course. You need to treat yourself.
You got to treat yourself for sure.
You got to treat yourself. But also, you got to show people that you're doing good with the actions you're taking and how you show up in the community. And whether you're sponsoring guys, taking guys to meetings, showing up for commitments, whatever it is, showing up in your relationship with your parents and your family.
Definitely.
Like all of that stuff is indicative to like showing up for your job, not taking breaks to go get fucking high on your job. All of this stuff is actually how we show the world that we're doing better.
But that's what I'm saying, though. The world doesn't recognize that. The world now recognizes.
Close to you, right?
Yeah, for sure, dude. Family. Yeah, of course.
But why are you trying to impress? Like, why are you trying to impress the fucking random person?
No, it's not about impressing. It's about even like, look, for instance, a sponsor, right? Like, I had this great sponsor, but like, he's kind of a bum, and like it was bumming me out that he's a bum. You know what I'm saying? So like maybe like even the kids nowadays, they're so like focused on who has what and what they're wearing and this and that it's kind of attractive if you have a couple nice things or if you dress well. Mm-hmm. So someone that's going through it and they're at their bottom and they want to sponsor, they're gonna be like, oh shit, like, he looks good.
Yeah.
A well-dressed person. Yeah. It's like a cheat code in life, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying I'm well dressed. I'm saying anyone. Like, if you wear a suit and tie and you walk in somewhere and you look good, that's like, you get away with some shit that other people won't get away with.
Of course, you want to present yourself nicely to the world. You want to, how you present outside is definitely a reflection of just a little bit of how you're feeling on the inside. When you go out in the world and you're dressed like a bum, it's probably because you feel like a little bit of
exactly, or if you don't care enough to like.
But that's not always the case. No, because I know a lot of people that are flashy, that have all the nice clothes, but they're sick inside.
Yeah, pieces of shit, 100%.
Pieces of shit.
Yeah, and I think it's the way society is now. That's the only reason I feel like there's all these rappers, this and that. Like people just focus more on that versus like who you are and what you have to offer spiritually and like through relationships and all that. But yeah, definitely, dude, families for sure stuck with me, when no one else is stuck with me.
You grew up here in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, LA.
What part of LA did you grow up?
Glendale, North Hollywood, the Valley. Of course. A little bit of Hollywood.
All the Armenians out in Glendale.
That's right, bro. G-Dale, you know what I mean?
Grew up out in the white BMW.
In the white BMW, fuck yeah.
Also, shout out to Porto's Bakery. The first one was in Glendale. If you've ever tried that was
my dad's in love with that place.
That place is amazing. Cuban bakery. I've been down there since I was a kid because I'm half Cuban. Porto's Bakery, bomb.
Are you?
Yeah, you didn't know I'm half Cuban?
Dude, no, that blew me up.
Yeah, my mom's from Cuba, so
really?
She would always take me out there when I was a kid, and like we'd always go out because that was the first one. That was the only one.
That's crazy.
For the longest time, and like,
well, I didn't know that. I thought you were just like white.
Yeah, you thought I was just like a white Jew.
Yeah,
it's the nose guys, That's crazy. Nobody knows that I'm Latino, man.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That spice, but that's But growing up I also grew up in Los Angeles. I grew up in LA. And it's drugs are going to find you wherever you are, but it's definitely easier to access out here. I felt kids were using drugs in my school from a very young age. Like when I was 12 years old, I remember hearing my friends smoking weed or coming to class like high in 8th grade. And I was like, what the fuck? Why is he like, what? That's like some hardcore drugs, because my mom and dad had always told me since I was a little kid, don't ever smoke weed. It's going to ruin your life. You're going to ruin your life. You're going to fuck up your entire life. And these kids were coming to class and they were smoking weed. They're high and they smelled like weed. I didn't know what weed smelled like at the time, but it smelled funny. And their eyes were all glazed over and they'd sit in the back of the class. But these kids would like, I don't know if it's because of California, or because of LA, but like kids were using coke when I was in high school. Was that your case?
Yeah,
like
15, 16, I did coke.
Kids were doing coke. I mean, that's where I started getting into drugs. Like, I started really using drugs when I was like 15. And then I started in high school, I was using like Norcos. That's when I got into Norcos. I was like 15, you know? And my friend his name was Jose, who I actually ended up trying to sponsor one time. He came into AA and had me sponsor him. The first guy I ever sponsored. He did not stay around AA. Not because of me, though. But he gave me a Norco pill and got me hooked. Oh, and then my other friend, Patrick, also gave me a Norco pill. Those shit got me hooked. You know, so quick. Just takes you out of your mind and that feeling of like relief. You know?
I can remember it was my friend. He passed away, but he came. He's like, "Hey, go check if your grandma has these in her drawer." And I'm like, "What?" You know, and he's like, "You wrote the name on a little piece of paper." So I go, I'm looking through this shit because she had a bunch of pills, and I found it.
Yeah.
And then we took it, and we went on the street because we were always keen on the street. And I remember I fell asleep on him, and he fell asleep on me, and we woke up. It was like nighttime already. And that was like the first experience I had with opiates, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy because it's like, why do we need to have like a high that just knocks us out? Like we're not even present to life. We're just immediately just fall asleep.
Because I feel like drug addicts are like uncomfortable in their own skin versus before the drugs, you know?
Oh yeah.
So like anything that gets you out of like the racy thoughts and like, I think that's what, you know? I hear that a lot in, like, the stories people share and shit. It's like, they're not comfortable in their own skin. I know I wasn't, you know?
I know, for sure I was. I was restless, irritable, and discontent.
That part,
I was like, I remember in high school, like, I didn't feel like I had fit in until I had smoked weed for the first time. Because I was always bouncing around, switching schools a lot. And I remember kids used to call me in high school, they called me Turtle. Because I used to wear this big-ass backpack, and I'd jut my head out, and I'd walk around, and I looked like a turtle. And I was like this skinny kid with these big glasses, and I'd like go and try and talk to all the girls, all the hottest girls at school, and they'd always just laugh at me and reject me.
That's fucked up.
And it was just like, I remember there was like 3 different times, guys, where I asked a girl to dance, and with like a rose, with like a flower, a rose, a big sign. Every single time I got rejected. Yeah, that shit hurt, man. That shit fucks you know? It fucks you up. And it was all like in middle school, high school. And, you know, I just felt like I wasn't good enough. It led to this feeling of like not being good enough. And then also, you know, certain relationships, it just made me feel like I wasn't good enough. And I felt like uncomfortable, you know, and I was not cool enough. I wasn't good enough. I was picked on. I was bullied. And then here comes weed, where I could smoke weed, and I felt okay. I felt like people wanted to hang out with me because they wanted to smoke weed with me, and I wanted to smoke weed. So we all would get together and we smoked weed, and I just felt like I could breathe, and I didn't, you know.
Yeah, you get like a part of something, you know.
Yeah, I felt like a part of something, you know. That led to, you know, weed is really the fucking gateway drug. Like, I know that was the stupidest thing to say, but what was the first drug you ever tried?
Weed.
You know?
Well, I mean, we were smoking seeds and banana peels like when we were kids, but
yeah,
you know, it was like weed because we couldn't get weed.
It was like weed, exactly.
Alcohol too. I feel like alcohol would.
Well, yeah, I drank before I smoked weed.
Yeah, same.
You know, but I remember the first time I ever got drunk was like at this family party. My parents used to throw a big barbecue in their backyard every Labor Day and invite all my Cuban side of the family. And I remember that's where I had my first tequila shot. And then I just got drunk on sangria and Coronas, and I got so fucking obliterated, but it was so much fun. I had so much fun. Yeah. That family party went from like a normal like 3 or 4 like boring family party to a fucking 12. That shit was so much fun, you know. I never had like so much fun in my life. It really felt like what the book describes as I had arrived, you know?
for sure.
And it just kept going. Like, with each drug, that new drug that I tried, it just felt like I had arrived, you know? I had like, oh, this is even better. This is even better. Let's keep going. Let's push the envelope. And we get to heroin, you know?
Yeah.
And we get
Did you do heroin?
I never crossed the line.
But opiates?
Know? Opiates. I did Norcos, and I did hydrocodones, and I did Oxycontin. But, you know, I was right there. You know? My friends were doing it, you know? But that was definitely a hard line in the sand that I made for myself. And at that point, my parents had already tried to, like, put me into rehab a number of times. And I just would not cross that line, you know? But I'm sure if I kept going, I would.
Yeah, 100%. You'd get there.
I'd get there,
yeah.
You know?
There's, like, this, like, thing with, like, Armenians. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm not going to do, or, like, a lot of them do heroin, but, like, at the time, it was like, oh, we're just going to do the oxys and not do heroin because heroin is bad. Like, oxy is almost you're like this close to do it. You know?
It's like,
it's pretty much the same thing, you know.
Push yourself right over the line.
Yeah, to this day, I know people that are like paying $40 a pill for a real oxy, not fake, because they don't want to do the fake one, which is like $5, or do heroin, which is, you know, same thing.
Well, especially now. I mean, it's fucking fat. The heroin doesn't even exist anymore. It's all fentanyl.
Yeah, fentanyl for sure.
Fentanyl is, and that shit is scary because thank God that wasn't around when I was doing shit. Fentanyl, like, takes you out like that.
Yeah, for sure.
You just smoke a little bit of it. You don't even, before, like, with heroin, you could smoke it and you wouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it.
And you'd only have to really worry about overdoses with heroin when you're shooting it. But now with fentanyl, you smoke that shit. Boom, overdose.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're either dead or you're being woken up by an ambulance. You know? And being
experienced it firsthand.
Yeah, you know. So, tell me, when you went to treatment after the first time, how'd you go out? What happened? What was that like? You went to treatment, and then you came out. What happened?
The first time I went to treatment, I was non-willing to go, and I was on Suboxone. That was like when I was maybe like 30 the first time, but like I don't really count that. Like the first time I actually wanted to go to treatment, it was in 2021 or 2020. It was right after COVID, 2021, and I went to Cliffside Malibu, and I told my mom, like, if you want me to go, I'll go, but I'm only going to go here, you know, the best of the best. I want to go, you know?
Yeah.
So they sent me to Cliffside Malibu. At the time, they were open, they were covering and all that. And,
what kind of insurance did you have?
Anthem?
Anthem?
Yeah, they were taking it at the time.
Okay. I mean, I'm just wondering, because how did you have an Anthem policy when you were
Anthem
30?
What do you mean?
Well, did you have it through the private market? Or
private market.
Okay, you had a private market policy.
Yeah.
So it's like,
well, my parents got it just for me to go to treatment.
Okay, gotcha.
Like, that was the whole point, you know?
Okay, I think Passages Malibu is in network with...
at the time.
At the time.
They don't do it no more. They don't take it no more. Yeah. Their sober living closed down, actually. So anyway, I'm like, Mom, I'll go. Because, like, dude, I had like 10 overdoses at that time. Or no, 9 overdoses at that time. And they're like, you know, whatever. They're like scared.
9 fucking overdoses?
Yeah, 9 overdoses at the time.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, at the time. I have 11 now.
Wow. Thank your fucking lucky stars that you're still here.
Like 11. I think, and those are like trips to the hospital that are like marked down on paper. But I think in reality it's probably more, because there was nights where I would have shot up and I just woke up in my own foam and shit. And I didn't count that as, you know. Well, it was an overdose, but it's not on paper.
Yeah. Insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I went to treatment. I'm trying to answer your question, is the way I went out, that's when I got the Beamer and stuff.
Okay.
So I went to Cliffside Malibu, and I did the 3-month program, 4-month program. It was my first time being sober that long. So I'm like, dude, I need a car. Being without a car in LA is crazy. And I wanted that car, so I got that car. I still did AA. I got out of the sober living in Cliffside. I went to another sober living, and I stayed in sober living up until like 2 months later. I moved next to my dad into an apartment right next to him. And I think that was probably the worst mistake I made, is leaving sober living. So whatever, I had the car, the apartment, I was doing an AA, started dating this chick in AA. We were doing the same meetings every day almost. And shit went bad with her. And what happened was I stopped going to those meetings. And I started using. But to be honest, I started using before that too. So I was like dabbling here and there. Like my last I had 11 months almost. So the last month, so 10 months. I had 10 months, and the last month I started using like here and there. I'll just do coke here.
Okay.
And coke there. Okay. Every time me and her would fight, you know?
Yeah,
and she even caught up to it a little bit, you know? But fucking great liar I am. And I convinced her, no, it's not the case.
Yeah.
And, it just fucking, next year I know I'm not going to meetings. I'm just doing, you know, coke, heroin. Overdosed. Went to Tarzana Treatment Center.
Oh, you got dirty.
Alumni, bro.
Yeah,
Tarzana alumni, you know?
Yeah.
I went to Tarzana Treatment Center.
That's gritty. Tarzana Treatment Center is like a publicly funded Medi-Cal treatment center, so anybody can go there.
Yeah.
Don't have to have some fancy insurance policy. Yeah. So they take the,
It's plastic beds and shit. You know, so from going from Cliffside to Tarzana is a trip, you know?
Yeah.
From like being used to that to that. Like over there you have massages and sound baths, but at Tarzana it's like they only give you the bare minimum methadone. And they're not really caught up onto the whole fentanyl thing. They're still treating people that are coming for heroin. They're not treating them for fentanyl. You know what I mean? Like they're treating people as if they're on heroin. Because it's a whole different thing, bro.
Yeah.
Like kicking heroin and kicking fentanyl are two different things. Recently, I don't know what they're putting in the fentanyl, but this last treatment center, I went to Laguna Treatment Center and I didn't kick for 8 days.
Okay.
You know, for 8 days I was chilling.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. I'm like, my mom probably prayed so much that I don't have a kick no more. And sure enough, on the 9th or 10th day, dude, I'm like crazy kicking, throwing up, shaking, all that. Mm-hmm. And they said it was a shit called xylazine that they're mixing in with which is crazy because on the street, if I didn't have it for like 6 hours, I'll start kicking. Yeah. But I think it's crazy how the fentanyl works, man. It's your head, you know? It's like, if you're like freaking out and you don't have it, you're gonna start kicking. Mm-hmm. But when I was in treatment, dude, I was 8 days, bro, no kick. No kick. 9, 10, fucking crazy kick. Yeah. So Tarzana starts giving you methadone the first day. They give you this much methadone, then they lower it every single day. By the time they're like super low on the methadone, like your milligrams, then your kick starts, which is it's not right. You know, they should wait until your kick starts and then give you the methadone. Yeah. Like the actual amount. But anyway, Tarzana. I left, dude. I went outside. I was kicking really bad. I was waiting for my drug leader to come pick me up. He was lagging it. And then he calls, and I'm calling him like literally, where you at? Where you at? Yeah. And he's like, I'm not coming. So I start freaking out, kicking really hard. After an hour, he pulls up. I'm on the street just like yelling for my mom. And then some lady came, gave me $5, like, oh, Jesus loves you or whatever. And I'm literally on the street just like going through it, you know? And then
what's it like? What's that feel like to kick? Can you explain what that is? Because a lot of people don't know what
pure hell. Kick means like when you're withdrawing off of the opiates, because the opiates are in your receptors or in your bone. I don't know, maybe in your bones even with the fentanyl, but like, so when your receptors are being drained of like it's going away, and your body just feels like it's going through hell. You're going through fucking like a flu times 100, and you know your bones are hurting. You're uncomfortable. You can't sit. You can't stand. You can't lay down. You can't eat. You can't do anything, and you're just hurting, and it feels really bad. It feels like shit. You know.
What does it feel like?
It feels like hell.
Feels like cold. It
feels like hell. Yeah, you're cold. You don't want to like climb up the walls. You know. Literally, you want to climb up the walls. Yeah. And you can't sit still, and you can't do this. You can't. All you think about is, fuck, how could I get the next hit just to feel okay? Mm-hmm. Which he eventually pulled up. I get in his car. It was a Maserati. I open the door. This guy had a fucking bong. He heats it up. He touches the fentanyl. I hit it, and I fucking overdose. Immediately. In his car. So he Narcans me. I wake up. When you wake up from Narcan, you're sick as a dog. You know, and that was my last overdose.
And it's just like crazy. It's just that cycle, man.
Dude, it's like, crazy, yeah.
Boom, I'm like, oh man, I got that hit. I finally feel good. And then boom, overdose, Narcan, shit, I feel like shit again.
Every time they woke me up at the hospital, or even him, dude, I cussed his life out. I'm like, why the fuck did you Narcan me? I'm like, you should have just let me, bro.
Just let me fucking go, man.
Yeah, I was fine. Because imagine not sleeping for like 5-6 days at Tarzana, you know, like not being able, whenever I'm kicking, whenever I'm going through withdrawal, I'm not able to sleep. Sleep is no. So like, you can't sleep for some reason. Yeah. So I can't sleep and I'm like drained, you know? So when I overdosed in his car, I finally felt rest, dude. And then this motherfucker Narcan me. You know?
Yeah.
And it sucks, dude. But like, it sucks to say, you know, why the fuck did you do that? Why'd you bring me back to life? But that's how it is, you know?
Yeah.
I really literally didn't want to. I didn't want to come back, and you know. But yo, here I am, you know.
There you go. I mean, you know, you suffer from this hopeless state of mind and body, right? You know, that's exactly what you were in. You're in a freaking hopeless state of mind. That
Definitely.
said, I've met cats that have tattooed on them that are so hopeless that have tattooed on them that says, "Do not resuscitate."
Yeah, I thought about getting.
I've had people.
I thought about getting.
And it's just like it's all bullshit. The paramedics are gonna fucking resuscitate.
No, they're not.
Yes, they do.
No, they're not. No, they're not. There's a case of the guy jumping from a plane, and he had the DNR tattooed on him, and they didn't resuscitate him.
My friend had this kid who's not my friend, but he was in my sober living. He had the DNR tattoo on him. And it's their job to resuscitate it. They don't give a fuck about any tattoos.
Dude, if it says do not resuscitate, they don't do it. Maybe if there's a kid, I don't know.
It wasn't a kid. It was like
this guy. You could look it up. This guy jumped off a fucking plane, like whatever. What's it called?
Parachute.
Skydive.
Yeah.
Something went wrong. Hit the floor. It said do not fuck, and they didn't do it. They had to let him die or some shit. I don't know. Whatever. Maybe it's some bullshit TikTok story.
Yeah.
TikTok.
But anyway,
shout out to TikTok.
The whole point of that story is that, like, you know, we're hopeless, and now that guy, I still talk to him. He has some time now, you know. He's in a sober living. He's doing well.
Fuck yeah.
And he has some hope.
Sobriety's dope, dude.
Yeah, sobriety is dope, you know. What's the longest amount of time you've ever had is what, 11 months?
10 months. Well, the last month I was using, so I'll say 10 months.
10 months?
Yeah, 10 months.
Okay, so you've had 10 months. When did we meet? We met before.
I met before that. I met you when I was going to Radford.
Yeah, that was like 2018.
No, bro, that was like 2000. Yeah, it was right before COVID, I think.
Yeah, 2017, 2018.
Yeah, that's when I was forced to go to like recovery. I was using Kratom every day. That's why I don't count it.
Okay, gotcha.
I was doing Kratom every day, dude. I spent like $150 on Kratom every day, like K shots.
Yeah, and Kratom is
it's not an opiate, but it tricks your brain into thinking it's an opiate. But you get hooked on it, and you could kick on it too.
Yeah. So Kratom is like it produces the same effects as like an opiate, but you have to take a shit ton of it.
You
have to take a shit ton. They sell it at smoke shops. It's like
would not recommend it.
Would not recommend it.
I
just get a headache.
I mean, it makes you feel like it makes you feel like taking half a narco, but like even then, when your body gets used to it, during that time I was taking it, I had to turn myself in. During that time, I had to turn myself in, and I was like up to like 60 capsules a day and 2 of those K shots. Dude, when I went to jail, in 3 days, I was fucking sweating, kicking, all bad. From Kratom.
Yeah.
That's why I don't count that as a recovery, because I was using Kratom every day. I was at sober living with Reza.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah. Reza.
But yeah, I was doing
Shout out Reza.
Shout out Reza.
Reza
said he had to leave. He's still right there.
He's still right there.
My Uber's here.
He's my Uber. He's right there. Dog's barking.
No, I love Reza, man. He's cool. He's the reason I came to this house.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew you, but I didn't.
Yeah,
you know,
you knew me, but you didn't know I had a sober living. Or a house
for sure. Reza's like, yo, come here. And fucking he made it happen.
So, basically, see this past time. What do you think is different this time in sobriety? Now
Dude, I'm so done.
You have 5 months, 5.5 months now.
Yeah, I'm so
about to have
done.
6 months. What is going to be make it different for you this time?
I'm so done, dude. It's like I'm tired of like every time I relapse, I got to start back up from zero. Mm-hmm. You know, literally, money wise, fucking reputation shot out already. Like, but like, you know, I'm gaining it back. I'm thank God people still want to get tattooed by me. You know. And it just sucks, you know. Every time I gotta like start from the beginning. Like it sucks, you know. And every other time I've been sober, I've been on Suboxone or methadone, and this time is nothing. So
yeah,
I feel like I've got a pretty good chance at staying it. I got a cool sponsor. He just decided to sponsor me. His name is Gil. Shout out to Gil. But he's you know, his story is my story. When I heard him speak, I was like, fuck, dude. And I know him. I just don't remember from where, but he knows me. And I was like, oh, V. I'm like, hey, what's up? And, dude, his story is just my story, you know? And, like, I'm glad he said he'll sponsor me and shit. We're supposed to meet on Monday.
Yeah, man.
So,
I mean, that's where the recovery happens. Recovery happens. Drinking and using drugs is a symptom of what our addiction
yeah, I've been hearing
is.
that lately.
You know?
Yeah.
It's a symptom of
It is.
like,
It's true. It's
us
fucking
feeling
true.
like shit inside and wanting to numb out to the world and wanting to just escape into nothingness, you know, or escape like that feeling of not being good enough or whatever that feeling is for you that you want to escape.
I think at one point it's like when we're so used to doing drugs and living the way, you know, a drug, even if we're functioning, it's like we don't know how to live a normal life. And like, you know, that's my biggest thing is like, I'm trying to like, you know, have a good credit, bank account, pay my taxes, you know, it's like, it's kind of hard, you know, like when you're so used to living the opposite of that, you know?
Yeah.
So
hopefully the IRS isn't watching, but you told me you've never had a bank account in your life.
go the paper route, you know?
The paper route. Yeah, the fucking paper. Man pays rent in cash.
Yeah, you know, I'm trying to do that. Yeah, I gotta get a credit and stuff. So yeah, that'll be cool.
Do you want to have
My parents never taught me shit like that. And like,
what's your relationship like with your parents?
dude, I love them. They love me. They're happy. I call my dad. He tells me, "You made my day. Thank you for calling me." You know. And me and this man didn't talk for years, and we fucking beefed it.
Yeah.
You know, for so long. And
He's
seen me overdose the most. He's seen me OD more than anyone seen me OD.
Okay, gotcha.
He's seen me flatline. He's seen it all. My mom hasn't seen it all. My dad, he's seen it all.
Yeah, we were trying to talk about why this time is going to be different for you, and that you're just fucking through with it. You're fed up, you know?
I was fed up last time too, but this time no medication, you know?
No medication. You think that's the reason?
Yeah, the last time I was like, I had Suboxone prescription. I was dependent, obviously, but I was like, sometimes abusing it too, you know?
But I remember when you came into our house, you said, "I'm going to be here for a year."
I plan on staying it for a year. Well, that's if I'm house manager, I'll do that, you know? But yeah, no, I plan on staying in sober living, maybe even longer. I don't know, dude.
For at least a year, you know?
Yeah, minimum a year.
Minimum. Because you know, like, that's what it takes to develop the foundation of sobriety and a community and all that stuff.
And like living alone, you know, I think is not good for addicts that, you know, have a hard time being alone.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's isolation.
I mean, you could isolate here too if you want, you know, but at least, you know, you're kind of like held accountable with the drug tests. You have other people surrounding you, so like sometimes you want to you may get motivated by them, or you motivate them. It's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think sober living a year is solid if you want to stay sober.
Yeah, 1 year sober living.
Yeah, if not more. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it might be fucking 2 years. I don't know.
Who knows? You know?
Yeah, if I'm house manager, I'll be fucking
house
chilling.
manager, baby. You think he should be house manager? Put a thumbs up in the comments section for VH for house manager. If you don't think he's ready yet, put a thumbs down. Dude, I'm so happy that you, like, Reza brought you in the house, dude. I remember the first time I met you, you were like, what was that? Where? It was some sketchy warehouse in North Hollywood.
Yeah, dude.
You were tattooing.
Yeah.
I forget who were you tattooing? You
I don't know.
A huge back piece on somebody for a tattoo show. I think it was like David that you were tattooing.
Maybe
it was somebody.
I don't remember well. My memory's shot out. So
I
remember if I see the tattoos, I'll remember. But
yeah,
I don't.
But it was at some.
Like, I know the warehouse. The guy I was just talking to.
Yeah,
Dre. That was his warehouse.
Okay, yeah.
It was a truck dispatching place.
Yeah, it was some sketchy warehouse.
It wasn't sketchy. It looked sketchy, but
it was sketchy.
Yeah, it was sketchy.
I mean, I don't know. It was middle of North Hollywood. It was a part of North Hollywood that you don't really want to be in.
Yeah, Sun Valley type of.
Sun Valley. Deep North Hollywood.
Yeah.
But I remember going in there, it was just like, everybody was there. It was me, Arpy, David, freaking, Clayton was there.
Yeah, Clayton.
Everybody was there, freaking, and you were just tattooing people.
Yeah, tattooing people out there. That's right. Yeah.
Just out of the back there. And it was like, it was partying. You know, we were just having a fun time. And we were all sober. We were just sober. Like hanging out, shooting the shit, having fun, you know? And nobody felt like they needed to drink or use.
For sure.
Which is the beautiful thing about that, you know? So is there anything you want to tell the people before we end it here?
If you need help, go get help, you know?
Yeah.
Ask for help. Closed mouths don't get fed.
That's true. Closed mouths don't get fed. And, again, if you ever need assistance in getting sober, I'm a great resource. You can reach me in the DMs, or I'll link our website, which has our phone number and email as well. I'm checking that every day. So feel free to reach out or just comment, and I'll reach out to you. Closed mouths don't get fed. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. So if you need help, feel free to reach out. That's the first step, is asking for help and admitting that you can't do this on your own. Because how many times have you tried on your own? Did you ever try on your own to get sober?
Oh, definitely, dude.
You know?
It never worked.
It never worked.
No, because even if you're trying, you're still using, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I'll do less tomorrow, or it's always tomorrow. And tomorrow never comes. You know?
Yeah, tomorrow never comes, you know? So just reach out. And if you do want to get tattooed by Vee, he's an amazing tattoo artist. He's sober now, so he won't be taking that many breaks while he's tattooing you. He's over here in Venice. But you can hit him up on Instagram. What's your Instagram?
Instagram is Vee Hart with 2 underscores. VEE __HART.
Yeah, and get tatted. Do a consultation, and maybe talk sobriety. But thanks for joining us today, and we'll be back with you next week. All right.